Today we are going to see about configuration settings. In App Studio, go to settings and then click on configurations, manage configuration sets. So basically, what are configuration sets? Configuration settings provide developers with a unified framework for customizing parameters for application behavior. These are replacement of earlier dynamic system settings (DSS). The settings are organized into configuration sets, thus associate the settings with a common element, such as a application feature or a specific case type. Configuration settings and configuration sets provide low-code options for controlling application behavior. Configuration settings minimize the need for rule overrides and custom rule changes to help deliver applications that are easier to maintain, update, and deploy. So basically, we can use configuration sets for three purposes. One is control the use of features in application. That is, when a feature has some dependencies. For example, sending emails is often an action and available in many processes, but email integration still has not completed. So in such cases, you can control the use of certain features in the application. Second one is determine which process in a flow should be followed. For example, there is a decision shape, like if approval is needed based on a monetary limit. If monetary limit threshold has to change, if it is less than 500, it should be approved. If it is greater than 500, rejected. Tomorrow that 500 threshold limit might change to 600. So for such cases, control UI experience. When an agile development methodology is used, process changes are introduced with each release. You can use a configuration setting to control the display of instructions for a process change. So for example, if you want to, you can update the configuration settings to hide the additional instructions. Initially we need additional instructions, but once customers get acquainted to using the portal, then we can hide it by making a setting change in the configuration settings. So basically, these are the configuration sets. Within that configuration sets, we can add configuration settings. To add new configuration sets or configuration settings, then only we need an unlocked open rule set. To modify the values, we don't need any unlocked open rule set. To modify, we need not have any open or unlocked rule set. Even though if it is locked, still we can make modifications. So now we can click on add here. Here we have to enter the configuration set name. Paid membership is the configuration set name in our case. Click the close icon. So now one configuration set is created and the name is paid membership. But now we cannot still see that. If you add at least one setting to that configuration set, then only we can see that configuration set and its setting here. Now currently that configuration set doesn't have any settings. For one configuration set, we can add multiple settings. So we have to click on add configuration. This is the configuration setting. Set is like a Venn diagram. It's a grouping. It's a circle. It is used for grouping multiple settings. So earlier I have created one configuration set. Now I am creating configuration setting and associating it one of the available configuration sets. So configuration setting name is gold membership coverage level, and I am associating this with paid membership configuration set. So we can have two types of configuration scopes. So as you can see here, coming to name, with a max length of 64 characters, this is the configuration setting name, not the configuration set name. This is the configuration set name. So first you have to create a configuration set. You have to have at least one configuration set in your system in order to be able to create new configuration settings and associate with them. This is a description. Configuration scope, like configuration setting, configuration scope, we have like we can select whether it is application level or case type level. So if it is case type, we can get all case types or each of the case types. If it is what is the type of this constant? So auto age resolution can have only two values. So we have selected the type as boolean, true or false. So when type is a pick list, the default value is selected from the pick list. So advanced, like if you want to change the ID name. So configuration settings use RBAC, role-based access control. This is an important interview question to grant access for standard administrator, manager, and user roles. For example, if you see there are different roles in our system: administrator, user, manager. These are the different roles. These are the configuration sets. So administrator has all accesses: read, write, delete, everything he can do. Whereas users can only read, managers can read bar write but not delete. The administrator can update access so that users and managers can write bar delete configuration sets and settings. So configuration setting sets is a rule type which is from the Pega dash configuration class or category. And configuration settings are a data instances which fall under the class data dash configuration dash setting. So when you want to import these configuration sets and settings to other environments, so you have to select this checkbox in your wrap rule. Include associated data checkbox because these are data instances. So you can reference the configuration settings in your case type by clicking on any step. So whenever you are adding any conditions, so in that conditions, earlier we used to select from when conditions or fields, but now you can select on this configurations to select the desired configuration set and the desired configuration setting within that configuration set container. So if you select the configuration scope as application, then this you can use in any throughout your application. If you select the scope as case type, then you can use this configuration setting in your current case type or all the case types depending on what you are selecting in this drop down. So constant we have to write here as gold. So earlier whatever we are hard coding in our conditions in the RHS, that hard coding value we are getting hard coding here instead of directly hard coding there in the RHS. We are hard coding in the App Studio configuration settings, and this we will refer there in the LHS. So now we will go to the case types and try see where we can use this. Say for example, enter payment information process need, already has a custom condition like depending on coverage level. If coverage level is not equal to gold, then only you have to execute. You have to start this process only when coverage level is not gold. If it is gold, you should skip this. So as you can see the existing condition, it is coverage level is not equal to gold. It is like this coverage element field we are getting from the customer ID data object. That is dot customer ID dot coverage level is not equal to gold. So here we are all, so this is we are getting from the data model, data object, customer ID data object. We are getting this property value in this case type, and so this will be populated actually in the create request stage in this create request process actually this value that we are now comparing with gold. If it is gold or not, we are comparing by hard coding the gold value here. Instead of hard coding this here, I have hard coded this in the configuration setting rule type as shown earlier. Now that we have to reference that configuration setting here. So there is one important change here. So if you see the existing condition in the LHS, we are getting the property from the data object dot customer ID dot coverage level, though it is shown as coverage level directly here. This is not a direct field in the work class. It is a data class property. Dot customer ID dot coverage level. Gold is whatever we are hard coding here RHS. But now when we are using configuration setting, we are referencing it in place of gold by hard coding the gold value in the configuration setting rather than hard coding in the case type rule. Configuration setting we have to use in the LHS. This data object field property we will use in the RHS. because we cannot use a configuration, we cannot refer a configuration setting in the RHS. So here you have to go to the configurations. Paid membership is the configuration set. In that we can add multiple configuration settings. For now we have added gold as the paid membership configuration setting. This is not equal to, don't hard code again gold here. Instead of that hard coding value only, that hard coding we did in configuration setting similar to DSS. That DSS we are referring here. That is that configuration setting we are referring here. So here we have to give the property from customer ID object. Another field, here we will select the customer ID object and select coverage level inside customer ID field group. So as you can see here, the terms have been reversed now. Earlier it was this property we are referring in LHS, hard coding on RHS. Now property we are referring on RHS, hard coding indirectly configuration settings hard coding value we are changing here. Say if you want to change this value, constant value, it will, here we will not change it. It will always be referring to that configuration setting. You can go to the configuration setting and change to another constant. So to test it, you can run your case now. So basically this is the use of configuration setting. It is a replacement of dynamic system setting DSS in from Pega 8.7 onwards. So as you can see here, I am selecting an account now and coverage level is gold. So as you can see here, enter payment information process itself is skipped because condition is false. Customer dot customer ID dot coverage level is not equal to gold. Gold not equal to gold. False. So stage is skipped. This process is skipped. Thank you.